Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to my channel. This is the Gold Ninja, and today we're going to be talking about fractional gold. So, I wanted to spend a little time and talk about some of the things that I've learned as I've gone through my gold stacking journey. And as I was thinking about how to describe this, I wanted to start with a scenario. So, let's assume that in our scenario, someone lives in the United States and they've decided they've got a budget of $40 a week to put towards their gold stacking goal. I think that's a pretty modest budget. It means you're saving $1 for every hour of the traditional work week, and it's going to give you 2,080 bucks at the end of 1 year, which is roughly right now about the amount of money that you need to buy a 1 ounce piece of gold. I'm going to recommend in this scenario that we consider using an American bullion coin, particularly the gold eagle, because that's the only bullion coin that has fractional options in the United States. If you were to live in another country, you'd want to think about the bullion coin of choice that would apply for you. So, when it comes to the gold eagle, there's really four sizes that we're talking about. It starts at the 10th ounce size, steps up to the quarter ounce, the half ounce, and then ultimately a full ounce American Gold Eagle. If you're new to buying gold, one of the things that you need to learn about is how those different sizes relate to different costs that you're going to have to pay. So, the way that the gold price works is it all starts with something called the spot price. And that's the market price of gold in fiat dollars. And that functions on a worldwide scale. So the price of gold is always set in dollars. Other countries may apply a conversion rate on that price to get the country's price in their own currency, but it always starts in the price of fiat dollars. When you're buying a piece of gold, that spot price is typically increased by some sort of premium to get to your price for that piece of gold. So, in today's example, the current spot price for gold is 1,848 bucks and change. And we're going to look at what were some potential costs of purchasing a 10th ounce all the way up to a full ounce of gold. These are based on prices right now posted on AppMex. I have no affiliation with AppMex. So let's start with the 10th ounce size of gold. So in this example, we're going to pay $255.07 for that piece of gold. A tenth of the spot price is $184.83. So we're paying a premium of $70.24 or 38%. If you were to buy 10 ounces at that price to get yourself to the full ounce of gold, you would be in it for $2,550.70. That's a considerable increase from the levels of gold today. If you step up to the quarter ounce, what you'll notice is that the premium drops to 15%, as does that cost per ounce. And similarly, as you move down to half ounce and ultimately to the full ounce size, your premium continues to decline down to about 6.2%. Now, that premium can get even lower depending sometimes on the setting that you're purchasing in. For example, if you buy from a private sale or in a coin shop, many times you can do better on the premium. The thing that's important to understand is that the premium is normally going to function as some product of the spot price. So it's important to think about them both to understand the amount of money that you're going to pay for a particular piece of gold. Now, we want to get to basically 1 ounce of gold. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you're going to want to pay attention to. So, first, some key performance indicators. There's a lot of numbers that are involved with the precious metals markets. One of the important ones, certainly, being the spot price, but I'm going to talk about two examples of some key performance indicators that I think are important. One is the annual rate of return. So if you look at the last 20 years, gold has returned 8.8% on average annually. Why I think this number is important is historical performance is really critical to helping us understand what might happen in the future. The other number that we're looking at is the change for price per ounce in absolute dollars. And if you look at gold and you had bought it 20 years ago, you would have paid about $255 and you would have made $1,592 if you held on to it until today. What I like to do is I change the frame of reference on these two particular measures a lot. So I might look at a smaller time frame, like 5 years, or even look at this specific to my own investments in gold to help me determine how I might want to make decisions. There's a really important principle here that I think people need to consider because many times people get into precious metals as a hedge against inflation. I don't think enough people consider it a hedge against life. And what that to me means is that we need to be thinking short and stacking long. You always need to understand your exit strategy at any point in time in case something really bad does happen, or perhaps there's another investment opportunity that you can't pack up. But if you don't know how to exit from your precious metals position, you're just sitting on a bunch of metal that doesn't function in the real world. So always be thinking short, but stack for the long term. So let's talk a little bit about buying criteria. There's a lot of things to think about when you buy. The first is the spot price. Normally, you're going to want to be comfortable with a certain level of spot price because that's going to dictate what you can buy. If the spot price is $2,000 and you only have $1,000 to spend, you're not going to be getting a full ounce of gold on that given day. So you need to understand the spot price and you need to understand the relative spot price because when gold is at all-time highs, there's some chance that the market might correct and gold will dip a little bit lower. So be sure that you're confident purchasing at that price. The next thing to think about is availability. This doesn't really matter so much if you're purchasing online, but if you're buying from your local coin shop, what you're going to be able to get is going to depend on what they have available to sell. So you really got to think about that and you have to consider what will be available and how that factors into your purchasing strategy. Another really important thing to understand is your total cost per ounce. We already talked a bit about premium, but some other things to think about are shipping and taxes. In my opinion, the tax factor is one of the main reasons why you might consider buying larger sizes of fractional gold or, frankly, just full ounces. In many states, you have to spend a certain amount to avoid taxes, and really getting to that threshold means buying bigger size pieces of gold or more of it. Next up on my list here is liquidity. I think liquidity is really important when you're buying something, especially because we're starting to think short at the beginning and we want to make sure that what we buy we can sell. The last number that I think is really important to understand is your break even threshold. How high does gold have to get until you can sell a piece at no loss? In our example of the 10th ounce gold eagle, the gold price would have to increase by 36%, which, based on that average rate of return of 8.8%, is going to mean you're looking at about 4 years if that historical rate of return stays true. Now, maybe the numbers will increase more than that, but it's not going to be 1 year. And if it is, there's probably some other significant instability in the market, which would lead me to believe that a correction could be certainly possible at any point in time. So, let's, there's really, if we think about the fractional gold example, four ways for us to get to this ounce. And really, what I would recommend for most people is that number one, or the 10th ounce 10 times over the course of a year, immediately falls off your set of options. I think the entry point for most people that they should consider is the quarter ounce, which is four times annually. But I would really recommend, if people have the discipline, to try and shoot for number three or number four. If you can save up the money and get an ounce at one point in time and make that a standard practice for you, you will save yourself so much money on premiums over the course of your stacking career. So, a couple of final thoughts. The price of gold can fluctuate a lot, and sometimes the smartest choice is to wait. You don't want to be in a spot where you've bought at the peak of the market and then you come to regret the situation and you sell your gold in a panic. You don't want to buy gold that you can't sell later because it's the only thing that your coin shop has available. You really want to be careful and make decisions at the right times. The perceived value does not equate to the resale value of your stack. That's number two. I think it's really important that people understand this. Many times, folks tend to overvalue what they have and they don't recognize what they could actually turn it into, or certainly turn it for quickly. The sooner that people understand how they can determine what the real value of their stack is, if they needed to actually liquidate it in a short time frame, the better position I think all of us would be in. And number three, the last thing that I'll mention is, don't confuse the premium for liquidity. There's a significant premium that can be placed on a lot of products, and sometimes it can mean that that thing is going to be more liquid. Generally, the more premium that you see on the home country's bullion coin, the more popular that coin is there. But other coins, like numismatics, can carry a significant premium, and when it comes to trying to sell them, it's very difficult to sell them and recoup that premium. So don't confuse the premium for liquidity. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. If you really enjoyed what you heard, please smash like, and I'll talk to you again soon.